It's another Premier League football show with me to discuss the game between Arsenal and Bournemouth. Is Mustafa Jinadu. You're welcome to the show.
All right, I know they're playing on the road, and I know that they have a lot of injuries, but Arsenal is finding a way to bottle this season. Uh, Perfect example, they're just not psychologically tough. You got Zubimendi in midfield, you've got Declan Rice, and they were still getting bullied and out hustled in midfield. No excuse for that. I know that Odegaard is not playing, but that's no excuse for not tracking back. Declan Rice wasn't tracking back. That was a big thing they weren't doing. They weren't tracking back. And I don't know what Arteta's doing. You bring in Eze from at halftime. You might as well have brought him in now because this is an important game. Bring him in early, and I would have even rested some of these guys for their second leg against Sporting on next week because if they can't beat Sporting at home with even a diminished team, then they don't deserve to be in the Champions League. What do you think of Falabi?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, but I think they should be putting all their eggs in the Premier League basket, really. And if you look at
Yeah.
this match, there was no fight. I mean, Arsenal was lethargic, they were boring, they were sluggish in midfield. They didn't put in a fight. I mean, you look at the game they played against Bournemouth and you ask yourself, are these the champions elect? And if you look at Mikel Arteta, he never seems to learn from past experiences. This same Bournemouth team beat them home and away last season. And it's the same way they played against Arsenal. Are you telling me that Arteta wouldn't have learned one or two things against playing with Bournemouth? But I don't know. They never seem to learn. And Bournemouth came to the Emirates today to play Arsenal. Arsenal was at home, by the way, and they pressured them from the off. They didn't allow Arsenal to play from the back. Arsenal kept on playing these cute passes from their keeper and, conceding possession. And Bournemouth just continued to apply pressure and they were aggressive and they were making all sorts of mistakes. Whenever the ball got into the Arsenal midfield, it was sluggish. There was no invention, no imagination. And then you look at the white players. You look at Martinelli and Madueke. The way they were playing today was as if they weren't up for the fight. This is supposed to be a cup final. For a team that wants to win the league, they have 6 games to go. Plus this one they lost today, 7 games. Every game is a cup final. You must fight to win every game. This is the Premier League. Nothing comes on a platter of gold. I mean, in terms of the endeavor and fight, Arsenal were not there today. Really, they were
No,
not them.
and the number one sign of that is they weren't the midfielders. They weren't backtracking. And once again, I'm saying it. Saliba and what's his name?
Gabriel, Gabriel.
Gabriel. Those guys are not the ones that I used to know from 2 or 3 years ago. These guys, they don't look like the best center defenders in the world anymore to me. They said that Gabriel is supposed to be the best center defender. I don't know where that's coming from. Also, I don't know what Arteta is thinking about putting Havertz as a midfielder today. Did he?
Yeah, he played. He started the game. I would have
But
opted for
he
Eze.
played him
I
as a
would have
midfield.
opted for Eze to start ahead of Havertz.
Yeah, because Havertz is more of a winger, a forward. You get my point. Havertz usually plays on the left. There's no Martinelli's on the left.
He
Where does Havertz
sometimes he
usually play?
sometimes plays as a false nine, but even
False
then,
nine.
he doesn't have the guile, the flair, and the imagination of Eze. So why start
Yeah,
him the game?
but not only that, they didn't even have. If you look at their setup, they didn't really. Not only creativity, their midfield was weak defensively today. That's the thing
Yeah,
that gets me.
yeah, sure.
And if you're not gonna have creativity in midfield and score, and another thing, they were so timid. They passed the ball back to the goalkeeper 38 times,
Exactly. That's just it. I mean, you
and there's
couldn't
no
have
excuse.
played the
You're
ball
playing
out.
Bournemouth. What are they afraid of? You have to score goals, and we said this before in the last show. Even when you have Eze playing or they have Odegaard playing, they're not creative enough. But today with this lineup, they had Zubimendi and who else?
Rice,
Zubimendi,
Mendy, Rice, and Havertz.
and
Those are the three
they didn't have
midfield.
they didn't have any playmaker in the midfield.
They didn't, not at all.
They should have brought they should have brought Eze in. I know they're afraid of his calf, but they still brought him in. Bring him in the first half and see what he can do. I think we can just break it down this way. Arteta doesn't have any plan when it comes to offense. He doesn't have a plan at all offensively. He doesn't know what he's doing. What do you think? I'm serious. He doesn't know what he's doing because what type of scheme? Maybe you were watching the game. What type of scheme were they having from midfield? What was their plan of attack today? Is it because they don't have what's his name playing Saka on the right? It just looked like they didn't have any strategy or tact. They weren't using any tactics offensively. What do you think?
In fact, you're absolutely right. There was no plan from defense to midfield to attack. You couldn't see the plan. They just kept exchanging passes from the goalkeeper to the defenders. And when it got to the midfield, there was so much gap between the midfield and Gyökeres. So to find Gyökeres was a problem. The Bournemouth players kept putting themselves in pockets of spaces to deny space to Gyökeres. I don't know what the
Yeah.
problem with Arteta is. You don't have to
You know
play.
what it was? They weren't even pressing today. They weren't even using Gilchrist to
Yes,
pin
they
people
were.
down,
Yes, they
create
were
open
not
spaces.
pressing. I don't know why Arteta can't play long balls to that guy. Is it a sin in football not to play long balls?
Yeah, like we said before, he doesn't like that style of football.
Yeah, that will help them to bypass the press because the pressure was too much. They couldn't play through the press. Play a long ball to the striker number 9. He will hold the ball up, and then the wingers
Use
can run into space
Zubimendi or Declan Rice. Use Zubimendi or Declan Rice to get the ball to him.
to get the ball to them.
I,
So I think Arteta is a very stubborn coach. The Gyökeres they bought, they're not playing the kind of football that brings the best out of his game. So it looks like a waste in actual fact. So,
I just don't understand what they were thinking today. So, what are your thoughts, Mr. Warrior? I know Mr. Warrior is still there. Yeah.
yeah, Warif is still there, but he's muted anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So, we'll go back to what we were saying before. Here's one of the problems that Arsenal
Okay,
has.
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you.
so
How is my audio?
it's
It's okay.
perfect. It's just that we can't see you.
Yeah, yes. You see, like what Mr. Mustafa said, Ateta is not ready. He does not have the capacity. He cannot study a game. You've been in this club for 6 years, and you keep on playing the same thing season in, season out. We don't have bullies that can. And again, Declan Rice normally over label himself because he wants to do everything, and he cannot do everything in the club. Then Kai Havertz, why put him in the midfield when you have a very change there? You would have used a very there than using Kai Havertz. And again, Arsenal players, they are not ready. They are not
No.
ready. They are slow in passing the ball. When they are in transition, they don't make it snappy. They like taking their time. This is the Premier League. So I think if Arsenal does not win the Premier League, they should just let Arteta go. He does not have the capacity. He does not have the capacity to win the EPL. Just watch what Man City will play Chelsea tomorrow.
No,
you need to psych these players. Psych them up. Let them play as if they are going to kill themselves. But they don't do that. As if there's nothing at stake.
Yeah.
They're just playing how.
Tactics, yeah, you're right. Tactics aside, the biggest problem with Arsenal now is their psychology. Look at that. Even that 1-0 win against they had against Sporting, they weren't fantastic. The psychology of this team, their body language says that they're afraid and that they're tired and they don't have the mental fortitude to carry it through. Let's compare them to Man U. Everybody was saying Man U will come 7th. Man U is in 3rd place, surprising everybody. And they've had ups and downs, but they're still holding 3rd. Same thing with City. City has ups and downs. Sometimes they lose games. They lose their intensity in the second half, not because of their mentality. It's because Rodri was overworked. But City has still hung in there and could still win this thing simply because psychologically this team is not strong. You're not strong when you're playing Bournemouth. I know you're playing them at home. And you're passing the ball backwards. It's better to lose to Bournemouth by playing attacking football and have them beat you, do counterattack, and die like a soldier than to go out there and play timid against them. This is how they play. They're not going to be psychologically ready for that match against Man City. I'm telling you, because in order to beat a team like Man City, whether you win or lose, you have to play. You have to play all out and take risks. What are your thoughts, Mr. Warif? Yeah.
Yeah, like you see, like I said, I thought I don't know how to study a game. You are playing team like Bournemouth. Bournemouth, they are aggressive. That was why, what's it called? Southampton won Arsenal. Now, you need to go for Malian players, Senegalese players in that midfield so that they cannot be bullied off the ball. But still, he still play the same team. When you have some bullies in your team and you want to play this team that play physical football, you put them. But I don't know. And you know, White is not in form. You keep on using White. And you know, something they study, you want to know that you have a loophole. That's where they want to penetrate from. But I think that is always Thomas, Jones. I don't know. I think they should just let it go.
Here's the problem.
They should let
You're
it
right.
go.
So here's the problem. If Arteta starts bringing in CDMs and strong midfielders, box to box midfielders, like a lot of these guys from Africa, he'll have to change his football and make it more open because he likes this rigid system in which Odegaard is the conductor of the whole team, and everybody's like a robot. They track the ball and everything. The types of players that if he brings in those types of players, he's gonna have to open up the style of the football and make it more focused on midfield and on aggression in the midfield, and it won't be as precise as he wants. What do you think of Falabi? That's the problem.
You're absolutely right, and that's exactly what I wanted to say. Arteta is too rigid and is too stubborn, I dare say. I mean, you need to bring in more physical players. For once, I agree with Warif with this is bullying philosophy. I think today Arsenal were bullied without a doubt, and they were at home. If you look at the 50-50 balls, Bournemouth won them. The second balls, Bournemouth won them. They ran more, they sprinted more than Arsenal, and they were faster. They kept on setting the tempo. At Arsenal, that's ridiculous. You needed to put up a fight. Arsenal needed to fight today. This was supposed to be a cup final for Arsenal. They have not won the league in how many years now? So they needed to fight. I didn't see any fights today. And the problem they have now is that if they lose to Lisbon by resting some of their players, there will be more pressure on them. But if you ask me, the Man City game next week is even more important than Sporting Lisbon. So they're in a dilemma. I don't know how they're going to approach this, really.
I don't know. And like you said, could you imagine if Arsenal with Declan Rice and they also had somebody in their midfield like Kamara? That's all you need. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
But the only thing is that once you do that, you have to change your game because your game is no longer about tracking the ball and staying with it. You have to see what happens in the midfield and develop your play based on what's happening in the midfield.
In the midfield, yes.
In other words, fighting for the ball in the midfield.
They
don't like fighting for the ball in the midfield. They try to pass the ball and bypass the midfield. They try to go around the midfield.
They're too predictable. Anyway. Too predictable.
All right, so last starts Mr. Warif, and then I feel like we can take it out.
Yeah, I think Arteta is too comfortable in teams. They need to put more fire on him, and they should try and mop out some of his players, like Trossard and Martinelli. They should show them the way out and get some African players.
Trossard must go. Martinelli must go. I'm serious. They got to go. All right, what are your thoughts on Falabi?
What I think, in my own opinion, is that Arteta is too stubborn with his tactics. When Guardiola bought Haaland, he changed the way City played. They were more direct because they wanted to play to Haaland's strength. They started using long balls from the midfield. Arsenal has brought Gyökeres. You need to tweak your system to bring out the best in the guy. But they keep playing this sideways passing, short, slow tempo kind of annoying stuff. And teams have gotten used to, teams have studied us now, and they're basically learning how to play them. And there's nothing special again. They're too predictable. He needs to be more nuanced. He needs to be more nuanced in his approach. He's too predictable. That's just what I feel.
No, by now he should be leading 15 points. By now,
yeah.
All right. Very good one. So we'll come back midweek to talk about Champions League. Take us out of Falabi.
It's been another brilliant Premier League show. We've been discussing Arsenal's opening the door wide open for Man City. And from Mustafa and Warifa Marcos, we'll be back again with another interesting Premier League show.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys on Monday. Okay.
All right.